So now that we have learned how to draw the basic pattern rumpus, right? So let us now draw a tile together and we will play around with the pattern, right? Although the basic pattern itself is, quite a bit of tangling involved there, but we'll still try and introduce something new, something different, right? And create a tile together, right? So let's get started. And in front of me is a Zendala, right? And I will be drawing rumpus in a round format only. However, we will try and introduce something different, some new things to the tangle. Yeah. So instead of the orb, let me in fact first draw a few orbs, and I'll try and create some bigger sections so that we have ample of opportunity to play around inside the sections that we create, right? So I have just drawn some reference with my pencil, right? And now I'm going to, instead of the orbs, probably I'll use my burgundy pen. You can also use your brown pen, right? O1. And instead of normal orb, I'm going to introduce some small diva dance roses. Small ones. Like this. Yeah. So I'm going to do it inside all the orbs which I have just created for reference. You can keep it simple if you want to first practice it simple. Right, so one more. So this is the Tangle Diva Dance Rock and Roll. In case you are not aware, I have done a series on the pattern Diva Dance. You can watch it, you can practice it, and then come back to drawing it. Yeah. So looking like small little roses, and that's why I chose my burgundy pen. So we will be tangling both with our black and burgundy. So just take your time, go slow, and draw these small diva dance rock and roll flowers instead of the plain orbs for rumpus. Yeah. Yeah, so that is one set. Now I am going to connect, probably use this pen only, right? But while I connect, I will also try and add something different. So let us add some orbs inside with the black pen, like this, right? So instead of simple lines, you can add a curved line and then add lines like this. Yeah, small little things that you can do again. So let's do that exercise first, and then we can add some orbs inside. Yeah. And now I'm going to connect these also the same fashion. Right. So one section created for the orbs, a dotted line and one more line. Yeah. So let us now add those orbs. So small little things that you can do to embellish the look of your tangle. Yeah. So again, this is optional. If you are not very familiar or not very comfortable with drawing the pattern, I would advise you to first practice it and draw the simple version only, right? And then probably you can explore and watch this video, and but first build that comfort level with the tangle, right? So that's why I drew the complete tangle in front of you, so that you first practice the tangle as is, and then we can play around and watch this video anytime, right? And in case you are already used to, then you can tangle along with me. So these dotted lines give kind of a very delicate look to the tangle, broken lines or highlights, and when we add some white chalk on it, then it adds a nice shimmer. Yeah. So I'm now going to add some more orbs and extend my rumpus a little further. So these are just for reference, and you can straight away draw your orbs and roses. So these orbs in the original tangle are not generally planned, they are just drawn randomly, right? So you don't really decide where, but I'm basically drawing here in a pattern, right? So I'll just use my pen again, somewhere in the center here, again a small one, not very big. Yeah. So diva dance, purely aura based pattern with these weights added in between. Yeah. So I really like the color of this burgundy pen. I use it pretty often, at times more than my brown. So I am done with that exercise, and again I'm going to do the same, link all these together. So just in the same way I did for the first set, I'm doing the same thing here, connecting the roses, creating a section first where I can add the orbs, and then going to the next. Yeah. So take your time and slowly link all the roses together. Right? Almost finishing here. Connecting the roses in the same fashion. Right? And the last one. Right, so let us now complete adding those orbs everywhere. Delicate looking small orbs like this. Yeah. So I'm almost finishing adding the orbs here. And the last one. Yeah. Now comes the inside part. So I'm first going to add a slight aura to my rumpus from the outside. Slowly, carefully, just add an outer aura. I'll tell you why, because I will extend my diva dance here, right? So just to separate my tangling from my outer border. Yeah. So now let us draw those bands. It's going to pick up the inner section, right? So first, probably I'll pick up my black. Yeah, I have the black only in hand. And add a band like this, right? And embellish it a little, right? You may or may not do it, again entirely up to you. So let's first add two only. Yeah. Like this. Yeah. You can see I am adding to one of the bands only so that it shows and it does not look cluttered, right? And I have not yet introduced the third strand. We'll see if we want to do it or keep it two only. right? And the last one. Right, and the strand like this. Yeah, so we have added two to each. Now let us see, there is enough space for the third one, so I am going to introduce the third one here like this. Yeah, so let us do that. Again, adding the third strand. Right, third one. Yeah, so we have done one, the inside we have done. Now let us proceed outside. So outside also you can do the same thing, or you can do something else, right? So let us see, the spaces outside are a little less than what we have inside, right? So let us first add one strand to each. So now I am drawing the other way, right? I am adding one strand to each. So as I mentioned, you can draw it both ways. Right, so it's real fun to draw this pattern. Just follow a process. Choose any one process, either adding one strand to all, then going to the second, or adding all the three strands to each of the section. Right? First master the basic, and then we can move on to the embellished or enhanced versions. Right? Now going to the second strand. Right? Moving on to the second. Keep moving your tile. Your hand should be in a comfortable position. Don't move it from its comfort position much. Instead, move your tile. Yeah. So it's a beautiful pattern as it is. You don't really need to do much. But I thought probably I will introduce small little things just to give you an idea how you can introduce variations to the tangle. Yeah. So in that regard, first thing that we did was replace the orbs with these rock and roll flowers, and then we added some orbs inside the auras, and then now we are adding these strands, and we'll see if we can add anything here also, or we can keep it simple. We don't want it to clumsy. Yeah. Yeah. So I think 2 is going well as far as the outer circle is concerned. So what can we do? We can either add third one, or we can leave it as it is and add some inking, right? So I think we will add some inking in the outside and then add some dots. If there are very big sections, then probably you can add a third one, right? Otherwise I don't think, yeah, 2 is good, right? So the outside I am going to continue this pattern diva dance, right? So I'm just going to add weights here and there and draw this pattern diva dance as the border, right? So take your time. And so one more thing that I am going to do here is probably ink these spaces in between. Yeah, you can also add orbs, but we already have lot of orbs here, right? So you can keep it as such, or you can ink it and then add some dots. Let's see. Yeah, since we are experimenting, so let's explore how does inking look like in this one, right? So as far as I understand from my tangling experience, inking always adds to the look of your tile, right? So we'll do one section and we'll see if it is actually looking nice. Else we can do 2 or 3 sections like this and do something else otherwise. Yeah. So if I ink it like this and then pick up my O8 jelly roll and add some dots, small little dots. Yeah, I think it's really looking nice. It will definitely add. Yeah, so we'll do that. So let me first do the border. Right, so I'm just doing the straight waltz version of diva dance here and going to do that all around my tile. Yeah, so I'm still drawing my border, almost finishing here, adding those small hums in between here and there like we do in diva dance. Yeah, the straight line version of diva dance, the waltz. Right, so we are done with the border. I'm now going to ink the rest of the sections here inside. Slowly take your time and add blacks to the outer ring. Yeah, so I'm not touching the inside, I'm just adding blacks to the outside. So as I always keep saying, inking adds a lot to the look of your tile. So take that time and make that effort to slowly ink those spaces that you need to. Don't haste up. Enjoy it. Yeah. So you can already see the drama that it adds to your tile. And these small little dots added to it almost look like mystical, like a sky behind. Yeah, so slowly ink all the sections. So inking the last section now. Finished with my inking. Right. So let us now shade it, and then we will add those dots in the last, right? So you can either use grays only, or you can also use a touch of, if you have this color chalk pencil, then you can add it around the roses also. I'm going to go with the gray pencil only. So as we shaded the original rumpus, we shaded around the orbs. First I'm going to do that same exercise here, right? So just going to add around the roses. The advantage here is it adds some shading to all the petals emanating from the roses, right? So you add around the rose and everything else gets that section of gray which is required, yeah? So take your time and slowly add around the grays. Here you don't need to add everywhere because there are blacks in between, so just add where there are no blacks. Small section of inking left here, right? So yeah, one small section left here. So just add graphite. I think I have done that to all, and now I'm going to just blend it. With a soft hand, just pull the graphite away. Make sure your ink has dried up because I think mine is still a little wet, so my stuff is getting stuck there. So wait a minute for the ink to dry. Yeah. So go slow and just blend carefully. Don't blend too much. Right, so the objective is to add gray on two sides. So you can add additional if you think that blending the gray around the flower is not enough. So just add some additional grays. But again, this highlight is important in between. Don't turn the entire thing gray. Yeah, as I keep mentioning always, whites and grays both should be visible. Then only the shading has a meaning, otherwise it's all gray or it's all white. Yeah. Yeah, so blending. Yeah, now you can add a little on these bands if you want to. I think it's already there. You don't need to, just a touch here and there. So one thing that you can do as far as these bands are concerned, instead of inking the outside portion of the band, you can ink this section created, right? So what I'm going to do is pick up my black and add some inking to this section, right? So there is a connect between the inside and the outside. The inside also now has some inking, yeah, and it will definitely add to the look also. So these small sections created by the crossing strands can be inked, right? Right, so we are done with that. Now I'm going to add some gray watercolor pencil, or you can simply add your graphite pencil, both are fine. I want it dark, so I'm using my watercolor pencil. I use it pretty often. Wherever I want the graphite to be quite dark, I replace it with my watercolor pencil. Yeah, it gives that nice effect of something, under. So when you add this dark, this rumpus will start to float on your tile. Yeah, that's the kind of effect that it would create. So let us now first add these small dots everywhere. Yeah, so slowly take your time, and these tiny dots will definitely add to the look. So pick up your jelly roll and add those dots. Yeah, almost finishing adding those dots here. Give it 5 minutes to a few minutes to dry up. Doesn't take that long, but yes, if you put your hand immediately on jelly roll, it would smudge. So give it a little time, right? Meanwhile, we will just use our brush pen, or you can use your brush and just wet it, yeah, and just spread this with a light hand. As I mentioned to you, you can very well do this exercise with your pencil also, right? But if you want it dark, Adding extra darkness gives the effect of your rumpus floating on the surface of your tile. Yeah, so that's the effect that we want, and hence the watercolor pencil. But you can get that effect with a dark pencil. If you have a dark pencil, a 6B or a 4B, then add some thick graphite around your rumpus. And then just right, so I'll just quickly blend it. Right, so I have blended that white color pencil. So the last thing that you can do is add some highlights here and there, right? So since we have shaded it this way, that there is, I don't see any need for highlights here because the centers already are highlighted. If you shade it properly, then there is no need. You can, if you want, then add this chalk pencil, right? So I'm going to add it on the border. That's it. I'm not going to add anywhere else because I think the shading has done the highlighting already. So I'm just adding this chalk on the border so that it looks like a shimmer, a shine, or luster, whatever you want to call it. Pressing my pencil hard. Yeah, so that's about rumpus. A nice high focus tangle requires some attention initially, but once you build that comfort level with the tangle, then it's pretty easy. You can use it anywhere. You can use a part of it anywhere. Need not draw the entire thing. Yeah, just add a few orbs and connect them and give a rumpus feeling inside, and you are sorted. So it's not that you have to draw the entire pattern everywhere, right? So we are done. I'm now going to close my tile, add my chop somewhere, where probably somewhere in between here. Yeah, and then I'm going to sign and date my tile. And today is 6th of February 22. So I'll also show you a few tiles. This is a tile for today. This is another tile that I drew. You can see just a part of rumpus here and some moon pies. Yeah, this is another tile. This is more like garlic cloves, but if you add those strands inside, it becomes rumpus, right? But I thought I'll show you. They are very close tangles, right? Again, rumpus in a fun setting. This is a basket of rumpus and then some petals and flowers there. This pattern is called Sunny Bele. Yeah, and this is the teaser that I posted. You can also use a colored pen. Beautiful rumpus, looks really beautiful. This is a gray tile with senna rumpus and some Knightsbridge. Yeah, so these are just examples how you can play around with rumpus. Yeah, and this is our tile for today. I'll see you again with another Zentangle original. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye. Take care.